that concludes the meeting, ladies and gentlemen, unless anyone else has any... and the next meeting is on the...
25th.
The 25th. Yeah, thank you. Now, is that a full choir committee or just the...
Full committee.
Ah, then perhaps you'd all like to make a note of that, eh? Yes. And good night, and thank you.
Good night. And don't forget your tea money.
There's just one thing you can do for me, Mrs. Pritchard, if you wouldn't mind. Now that we've decided on the foray for the second part of the concert, we'll be needing to think about items for the first part.
Yes, we will.
Well, what I wanted was if you could just sound people out a bit about items from the choir repertoire, which we might do without too much rehearsal, steer them away from...
Well, leave it to me, Mr. Peters.
Well, that's very good of you, and I do appreciate it. You do a lot for us now, Mrs. Pritchard.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Yes, but I just want you to know how much I appreciate your unselfish attitude.
It's good of you to say so.
Thank you so much, and good night.
Good night, Mr. Peters.
Well, a very good meeting.
As usual. And you got your own way, as usual.
Now, don't try telling me I persuaded you this time.
Oh, fair enough. On to the foray. It's a gentle work.
And not too demanding.
Now, that makes a nice change. It's all very well for you. All you have to do is conduct it. We have to sing it.
And very nicely you will, too. Mrs. Pritchard took it very well, I thought.
Mrs. Pritchard? Well, she's a good old stick. All right, there's only one soprano solo in the foray. So, swings and roundabouts. No doubt she'll do better next time.
No doubt about that.
Well?
Well?
Oh, go on.
Go on.
You've so obviously got something in mind.
The soprano part was intended for a boy, you know.
I seem to remember something of the sort.
Well, you just think about it for a moment. Of course, it's a soprano part, so that can mean woman or boy, but just think. How incredibly moving. That Sanctus beautiful with the choir triumphant. Hosanna in excelsis strong. The accompaniment dying away gently. Then that single chord. And that one voice. Alone, vulnerable. So vulnerable. It must be a boy's voice.
Isn't Mrs. Pritchard vulnerable too?
Well, you know what I mean, but the whole thing is about transience, the transience of life, and so Fauré wrote it for a boy. He knew what he was about. Beautiful.
Well, all right, I won't argue with you. I know better than that. You've made up your mind, yes?
I have.
Yes, well, I won't pretend to be surprised.
In a hurry, Ralph?
I think you've dropped something.
My father.
I've taken it up, has he? Well, it just goes to show.
Not that you do smoke, Moira, but if by any chance you were thinking of taking it up at any time, not just now, eh? All right, then. Because I'd like you to have a little look at this, if you would. Pia Jesu. Around about page 36, 37, I think it is. It's a soprano solo. Just the one. Only the one in the whole work, but it's beauty. The Fauré Requiem, that is. It's very beautiful. We're doing it next, and I thought it'd be rather nice to hear a boy's voice there. And Fauré thought so too. So I'm in good company, eh? Have a look at it, all right?
All right, yes.
Good, then perhaps I can call round one evening and have a chat about it with your father. Not that he'd mind, I'm sure. He'd be very pleased, I should imagine.
Yes.
Or I'll see him at church, no doubt.
Yes.
Well, I'll be getting along, and you will have a look at it, won't you? And if by any chance you did happen to know anyone, say, your age, who was tempted to take up smoking, well, because he thought he was grown up, you know, well, tell them, not worth it, really. It's very bad for the voice. Well, you know that, of course, and it'd be such a shame if... Still, you have a look at it. It's a beautiful thing.
Won't be exactly popular. He's not well liked.
I had thought of that. I didn't know you knew him.
Well, I don't really. Know his parents. Meet them on the Parent-Teachers Association, that sort of thing. There are quite a number of committees. His father is quite a social conscience.
One gathers.
Oh, one gathers. And not over-proud of his sole offspring. One gathers that, too. I think he'd be quite happy to exchange him for a more acceptable model.
That too.
Yeah, I can't honestly say I blame him. Mrs. Pritchard would sing it very well, you know.
I don't doubt that for a moment,
All
but I
right,
mean...
we all know that she's not one to take offence. But she's got quite a few friends who would not be averse to getting their teeth into a nice, tasty chunk of umbrage.
You wait until they hear him.
Well, wait. Cheers. Oh, yes, that's another thing. How long before we do the foray? Voices break, you know. And I wouldn't bet too heavily that he'll take your advice about giving up smoking. Oh, advice, if you can call it that. Not that you do smoke, of course. His fingers as brown as walnuts.
Well, all the more reason if it holds up. I think it will. I hope it will. And if by any chance it didn't, well, Mrs. Pritchard, you said yourself she'd do it very well. Knows it note by note, I've no doubt. But I think it'll hold. I'm the eternal optimist, you know. It's just that oh, it's so right somehow. Damn it, it's about transience and the voice should... Well, if that's not appropriate, I don't know. Requiems aren't occasions for rejoicing anyway, just remembering everything passes. Everything passes.
Oh, I've always thought of the foray as consolatory.
All right, for some, for those who can be consoled, yes, I grant you, but at the center of it, there's loss. Can you console away loss? I don't know.
Drink releases the dark melancholy of your Welsh ancestors. Do you know that?
Yes, well, I'll give him another 5 minutes, and then I'll phone up.
He's probably met up with one of his friends and forgotten all about the time.
Yeah.
You know what he's like.
Well, it's never been as late as this. I'm not having it. If he can't get back to time, he'll lose the privilege altogether. He's got a full day's schooling ahead of him tomorrow, and he's all the sleep he can get. Well, that age, especially.
Why don't you walk down to the end and see if you can see?
No. I'll give it another 5 minutes, and I'll ring up. And I'll give him a piece of my mind when he does get back, you'll see. 5 minutes, and I'll ring up. What sort of time do you think this is?
Sorry.
Yes, well, all right, but sorry's not enough now, is it? Eh? I was just on the point of ringing up. Did you realise that?
I couldn't help it.
Well, I'd like to know why not. We both know what time that club finishes, don't we? Don't we? And we've got an agreement, haven't we? Haven't we?
Yes.
Yes. And I don't see much point in me keeping my side of it. If you, which I do, if you aren't going to bother about keeping yours. Always the same, isn't it? Always the same. Doesn't matter the slightest to you keeping your word, does it? Every time it's the same. I keep my word, you don't keep yours. All right, that's it then. It's cancelled then, that's all there is to it.
I got held up.
I don't believe you. Do you know what I think? I'll tell you what I think. I think you hung around that club with some of those mates of yours whose parents don't give a hang what time they get home and just played around in the streets. That's what I think. And you know exactly what I think about that.
I didn't.
Well, where'd you pick this up?
Mr. Peters.
Well,
I met him when I was coming home from club. He stopped me and he said he'd like to talk to me about it. He was with Mr. Foreman.
we'll talk about what?
He wants me to sing soprano in it. He says it's very beautiful and he'd like me to sing it for them.
Which one?
There's only one in the Forey, Mr. Peters said.
The Forey. If you're going to talk about it, you might at least learn how to pronounce it. Yeah. Oh, well, if you're going to do it, you'll have to work on it, mind. None of your usual starting off with all the enthusiasm in the world, then dropping out halfway through when it begins to look like hard work. Yes, we're not letting you start unless you carry it through.
Anyway, that's why I got held up.
It's all right, I accept your explanation. Of course, you realise if you take this on, it'll be something else. Another evening, something will have to go. Which one is the solo?
Round about page 36, he said.
P.A.J.J., is that it?
Suppose so.
Yes. Yes, well, I should advise you making sure before you set to and learn it. Yes, well, that'll be it, I'm sure. Right. Well, look, before you make it any dirty, for goodness sake, go and wash those hands. You better go on up now. Goodness knows it's late enough as it is.
You better take this up with you. Do you want a biscuit?
Yes, please.
There you are.
You'd have thought Peters would have had a word with me first. Still.
Now give yourself a good wash.
Yes, you make sure you do, mind. Oh, if only he'd look you straight in the eye just for once, you'd have a better chance of knowing if he was telling the truth or not.
Well, surely you don't doubt him this time, do you? Well, he knows you'll be seeing Peters before very long. At the PTA meeting, if you don't bump into him in town before that.
I suppose so. It's just that sometimes I feel he doesn't ever really tell the absolute truth. It's almost as if he just can't bring himself to. There's always that feeling that he's... Well, it just seems a little odd to me, that's all. Just bumping into him like that, and here you are, here's a solo for you.
But if he weren't telling the truth, he'd know you'd be bound to find out.
It's possibly one thing I do know, and you should know by now. With that boy, you can't be sure of anything.
But if he thought...
Well, I'm right, aren't I? Time and again. I mean, not just with me either, with you as well. You've got to admit it.
Look, all I meant...
Well, haven't you got to admit it if you're honest with yourself?
I suppose so.
Oh, I suppose so. Time and again. That you just cast your mind back. Every time you've tried to stand up for him, he's always let you down. Well, hasn't he?
I suppose so.
Only suppose. Well, I can remember quite a number of occasions when he's caused no end of concern.
Let's go over it all again.
Yes, but it just seemed to me that you were forgetting. And that's the way he always gets away with it. I mean, what about that youth club do last year? Do you remember that? You were all for trusting him then, weren't you?
Yes, well, I thought he might...
And we both know how that ended up, don't we? Huh? Surely you haven't forgotten that?
No.
Yeah.
Have we missed the news?
Yes, that's right, sir.
Did your dad ever hit you?
No,
Mine does.
mine doesn't. He just goes on and on. We had an agreement, son.
Well, you want to think yourself lucky.
Well, sometimes I wish you would. Almost.
Hey, you come on out.
What?
You know, I'm bloody hurt.
Sorry.
You're not.
I am.
You're not.
I am.
You're not.
Shut your mouth.
Get off. Get off now. Get off. All right.
Oh, look at that.
So, they're all ones, aren't they?
Yes, but it's the agreement.
What?
So that I can go to the club on Fridays. They won't get my clothes all dirty and make extra work.
So, anyway, what's the matter? You won't get it.
One day we'll.
Oh, one day I'll be as big as my dad. Then we'll see. Hey, that magazine I lent you, have you still got it?
Yeah.
You haven't been showing it to anyone.
What do you take me for?
It's about time you let me have it back. You done your history?
No,
You'll get done.
I won't.
You'll get done. He said he'd do anyone who didn't get it done by Monday.
So I'll get extra time.
Somehow.
Do you want to bet?
He said he'd do anyone who didn't get it done by Monday.
Well, he won't do me.
You'll see. He's not allowed to hit you, really. But he says, would you rather have it off him or go to Fletcher? You'll get done.
No, I won't. And I'll tell you why. Old Fletcher's in the choir, see?
So?
So, all I've got to say is, I'd rather go to Mr. Fletcher, sir, if you don't mind. Because he knows I've got all that solo to learn the foray. He won't risk it.
You jelly.
So?
Well, you'll have to do it sooner or later.
Well, it better be later then, isn't it?
Only one day someone's going to catch on, see? You carry it around with you all the time, but you never open it, do you?
That's a thought.
Can you sing it?
Not yet.
Come on. Here. You know Gaz Arnold's got a new bird. You know what he said about it?
Refreshment for you? Yes,
Oh, Headmaster.
Dawson? Yes, one of our most faithful supporters. Meetings wouldn't be the same without you.
Yes, only missed once since I was elected to the committee. You remember. When I had flu that time?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I believe if you take a job on, you should be prepared to do it properly. Yes, it makes all the difference in the world. Yes, when I was on the PTA of Ralph's junior school, you'd hardly believe it. Most of the time, there were only 2 or 3 of us at the meeting. Not much fun being chairman of that committee, I can tell you. Yes. Still, I kept trying. Nobody could say I didn't turn up. Mind you, we never had the backing.
Well, we're very lucky here. We usually get a good...
I never really felt we were getting anywhere. I suppose it's not quite the done thing to criticise one member of the teaching profession to another, but really...
look, are you sure you won't have something to drink? I mean, one small sherry won't hurt, surely?
Well, I'll have an orange juice, if you or a squash. I'm not fussy, really. I really wanted to have a word with you about Ralph, if you've got a moment.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, I think it'd be better if we made
Yes,
an
I
appointment.
don't seem to be able to get through to him.
Well,
perhaps you might be able to...
Let's make an appointment, shall we? Perhaps you'd give me a ring sometime tomorrow?
I was rather hoping that we could... I thought perhaps we could talk it over now, in general terms. Then perhaps I'd have a clearer idea.
Well, I really think it would be better if we made an appointment.
How to go about it. Sometimes I feel, well, lost. Yes, I mean, I talk to him. Oh, yes, I don't let things go or anything like that. You know, I mean, a lot of parents do. Well, that's not my way. No, he's my responsibility, and I'm not the sort to run away from responsibilities. No, of any sort.
No, of course not. It's not that I don't want him, Mr. Dawson. It's just that
be
this
very
particular...
grateful for your views. He's so dishonest. Yes, I mean, I can hardly believe a word he says. I mean, and he never looks me in the eye. Won't look me in the eye. And I don't know what you think, but I feel that's a fair indication.
Excuse me, Mr. Dawson. I've been meaning to have a word with you. I wonder if I could...
you'll excuse me for a minute.
Perhaps we could come back to that, Mr.
Would you like to have a drink?
No, thank you. That's very kind.
George, could I have a word about the cricket nets? Do you think
I've been meaning to step round and have a word with you, but seeing you here this evening, it seemed a good opportunity to...
Yes.
About your boy, singing the solo in the forum.
Oh, yes.
I hope you didn't mind my broaching into him first without seeing you, that is. But I'd had the idea in mind for some time, and, well, when I bumped into him like that, it seemed as good an opportunity as any, so I broached it. I hope you don't mind.
What did he say?
Well, I think he was pleased at the idea.
What did he say?
Well, I can't remember exactly, but I'm sure he was interested. What did he have to say when he got home, then?
Oh, he mentioned it.
Yes, well, I suppose I should have spoken to you first, really. It was just that seeing him coming out of the...
I'm sorry, coming out of the...
The club, was it, if I remember rightly?
Yes, that's where he'd been, where he was supposed to have been.
And he talked about it when he got home?
He mentioned it.
That's if you have no objections, of course.
I have no objections. As long as he does it properly, doesn't make a mess of it.
Yeah. Has he started on it yet?
No idea.
You have a piano?
We don't, in fact. No.
Well, then I wonder, how does he do his sort of rehearsal?
I have no idea. Yes, Mr. Fletcher, perhaps we could come back to that?
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. Wednesday, 7:30, suit you?
Oh, you haven't got a moment now?
Oh, I'm afraid not, Mr. Dawson. You must understand it. Well, it's not really the time or the place now, is it? Not for a discussion. I'm sure you'll understand. I always prefer to make it...
I was rather hoping that we could...
Wednesday at 7:30, then. I'll put it in my diary, and we can talk it over properly. Everything's worth doing, you know.
I was wondering whether you'd object if I had him round to my place once or twice to take him through...
Do what you like, he does.
Mr. Dawson, I hope you're not offended.
Of course I'm not offended. Why else should I be?
Well, I know I'm inclined to act on impulse, I grant you that, but it was just that, well, seeing your boy like that, it seemed a good opportunity.
Yes, I understand you perfectly, Mr. Peters, and I'm sure he will add lustre to your concert.
Well, more than that, really, Mr. Dawson, you see, a boy's voice, a great deal of its essential quality is just that it's not for long, and that's why I'd like to use it. Not for myself, I assure you, no, for him. No, not that even, just for himself. Just simply that, just simply because it is a lovely voice, and the music requires that.
Mr. Peters, I take your point perfectly. The voice will undoubtedly make its effect, and it will be very touching, profoundly moving. And that'll be a great moment for you. All right, I don't envy you that. But tell me, after his voice is broken, will you, which will be quite soon, I imagine, will you be able to make anything of him then? No, I imagine not. That'll remain my task. After the solo, after the chorus, after the applause, then there's the long silence of the rest of life, isn't there? So you have the solo, and my portion is the long silence. Eh? No, that's nonsense. It's not silence at all, is it? It's an ugly sound, and it goes on and on and on.
If I didn't know you were teetotal,
yes, well, I am. Sober, seeing the sober truth, and speaking it.
Dawson? Well, come on, you've got something for me now, haven't you? Haven't you?
I told you, sir, I couldn't do it because Mr. Fletcher knows.
Right. All right, when is this concert then?
Next month.
Well, live your life to the full, laddie, until that magic date. Because when it's over, just bear this in mind. I'll have you, my son. I'll have you, and I'm not the only one. Just bear it in mind.
No, that won't do, not at all. You're forcing it. It doesn't want to be forced. It wants to be set free. Now, I can't sing it. Of course, my voice broke a little while ago, but listen how it goes. It's a prayer. It's like a bird in the cage, and you open the cage, and it wings its way up. Right? Now, first the cage is not open. Now, do it with me from the first sempiternum on 38, right? Sempiternum requiem, sempiternum requiem, sempiternum. Now release the prayer, set it free. P.A. hears you. P.A. hears you. Domine. That's it. Well, nearly it. You see what I mean? Now, don't go working at it. Let it sing itself. That's all it wants to do. Ride free on your voice. Now, it'll do. It'll do nicely. And don't you go forgetting it. And don't you go hammering it to death either. You just keep it easy. And then we'll get you to come along to rehearsal next week and give them a treat, eh? Lo, pat upon her cue, she comes.
I expect you're ready for this.
Well, he certainly earned something, I must say.
Oh, it sounded very nice.
Oh, it was good. It was good, eh, Ted?
It was.
Now then, young man, I expect you could do with something to eat, so why don't you pop upstairs and wash your hands and face? Mr. Peters will show you where.
Come on, son.
Oh, tell him to use the navy blue towel.
You owe me 10 pence.
I do not.
Liar.
Well then,
You remember, you had those cigarettes off me.
you nicked then?
I know I nicked them. That's why I'm charging you 10 pence. That's what you owe me.
Never.
You owe me 10 pence.
You nicked them.
I know I nicked them. You were glad enough of them, though, weren't you?
Yeah, well, that's different, innit? I mean, if I'd nicked some, I'd share 'em with you.
Well, why don't you then?
I might.
Either that or you owe me 10 pence.
Yeah, well, I haven't got it.
Well, ask your dad for it then, or your mum.
Oh, you must be joking. I don't even get pocket money.
You get some money.
Yeah, that's merit money.
You what?
They put it away from me at the beginning of the month, and then add things up and take things off. Like I tore my blazer on that, and I get what's left over.
How much do you get?
Depends.
Well, ask for some of it now.
I can't, I told you. I have to wait till the end of the month.
Right, you still owe it to me.
I do not.
Right, you wait. All right. You remember that picture you drew of Gazan and his girl? I've still got it. I'll show it to him then.
He'll murder you.
He'll murder you.
you supposed to be seeing Mr. Fletcher's?
I didn't think there was any point in it. All he ever does is trot out the same old platitudes. I decided it was a waste of time.
But I thought you...
Nothing to be gained from that sort of discussion.
But didn't
Nothing
you...
at all.
Well, you may have wasted an hour, but at least you didn't have to listen to him going on and on. That's something at any rate, surely.
It's more than something. Yes, you're right. It's a great relief. Sometimes I have the utmost difficulty in... Do you know what I'm sometimes sorely tempted to say to him?
Go away and leave me alone, I should imagine.
No. I feel the greatest temptation to lean forward, look him in the eye and say, you can say what you like about your revolting child, I'm with you all the way. Only, my friend, don't forget this. He's the result of your upbringing, and that's a fact you can't escape, try as you may.
Feel better?
Yes, a lot.
Anyway, you know you never would.
That's true.
You will continue to preserve inviolate that impeccable impartiality which has made you what you are.
I couldn't do it, really, Helen. I couldn't bring him face to face with it like that, however much he irritates me. And he does. But to say it outright, you're really responsible for that. No.
You really must meet this young man. He sounds quite something.
He's a toad. Quite simply a toad. Slippery as they come. Not nice, my dear. Just one thing, just one. He has a voice. Really quite lovely. Pure, inappropriately enough. Really is a pleasure to hear him sing. A pleasure that you will enjoy, my dear, when you come to the concert. To see your husband in his usual lowly place in the back row of the baritones. The boy's doing the soprano solo, the Pia Jesu.
Oh.
Let's hope he washes for the occasion.
Here. Come here.
This yours? This yours, I say?
Yeah.
Well, that's where you're wrong, son. Because it's been given to me. And I don't like it. It's not nice. So, you're going to say you're sorry?
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, not yet. When I'm good and ready. And I'm not ready yet.
You leave me alone.
Oh, now that don't sound like a nightingale, does it, lads? You're supposed to be a marvellous singer or something, ain't you?
Yes.
All right. Prove it. I don't think you can, not after that. Prove it, sonny. Sing. Sing your solo.
I can't.
You'll sing or you'll yell. I said sing. Stuff that. Shan't buy a ticket for that. Yeah, Nittler. Cop hold of that.
Well, you slung that slate at me and I've still got the mark. You can call it quits if you like. I don't mind. We can be friends again if you like.
Sod off.
Well, if that's what it does for your voice, I reckon I'll take up smoking again.
Why stop at smoking? I gather he's a young person with a wide range of accomplishments. Perhaps they contribute too.
Our conductor's got his eye on you. You're being antisocial.
Perhaps if I'm antisocial enough, he'll give me a solo in the Verdi.
Mrs. Pritchard, hanging on every note.
Do you think
The moment he finishes, she'll be the first to congratulate him. You see.
She's like that. Wish I could be. It's been nice to radiate such a great deal of sweetness and light.
Beautiful. You have a lovely voice. Really lovely.
I think he's a little nervous.
That's quite understandable. But there's really no need, you know. Not if you sing like that.
Such natural grace.
Yes. You look very nice. Very nice indeed.
Well, you might produce the ghost of a response.
Thank you.
Yes. That's what your mother's right. It does. It looks very nice indeed, yes. Is it well worth the money, Mother?
I think so.
Yes. Frightening, the cost of things these days. Still, yes, I think it was worth it. Yes, I really do. Yes, don't go growing out of it now, will you?
No, I won't.
Oh, no, he won't, he says. You've got no choice, my son. No choice at all. That's one thing we've got no control over. You'll grow, whether you like it or not. And one of these days, whatever you may think, your voice will break and you'll be a man before you know it. Yes, now, you do us credit on Friday and do yourself credit as well. It'll be... Look, I'll tell you what. Look, I'll add this to your credit money, all right? There we are. That's yours. And all the rest of the merit money, no deductions, all right? And you can have it straight after the concert. You don't have to wait till the 31st, all right? Good. Yes. Well, you know, I'm really rather looking forward to Friday. You're not feeling nervous?
No.
No? No, that's the idea.
Now then, you'd better go and get out of those things. Take them off and lay them on the bed, and I'll put them in the wardrobe.
I'll do it.
Right, you heard what your mother said. Those things weren't handling properly. We don't want them messed up before the concert. We want you to look your best, as well as singing your best.
Well, I'll be up in a moment.
Boy, he really looks quite presentable for once. Pity he can't always look like that.
All right, sit somewhere else if you want to. You don't think I want you sitting next to me, do you? But I can tell you this, he won't move even if you ask him. You know why? Because no one wants to sit by you, that's why. No one wants to sit by you. Go on, ask him. Go on. All right, I will.
You two at the back, get on with your work.
Anyway, Gaz Arnold told me to tell you something. He told me to tell you. Are you listening?
Oh, shut your face.
Right, I'll tell you that.
I said you.
Dawson.
He said you could have the picture back when you paid me the 10 pence you owe me.
I haven't got
I shan't tell you again.
Well, he said if you don't pay up or give me the cigarettes back, then he'd get you. He said he'd get you on the day of the concert and he'd see to it that you yelled a lot. He said he'd make you yell like the other day when your voice went all funny. So he'd make your voice all sore and you wouldn't be able to sing properly. That's what he said, and he told me to tell you.
Look, I'll let you have it after the concert. My dad said I could have my money then. I'll give you double honest.
No, he said he'd have to have it before so he could do that to you if you didn't pay up.
Can't I tell you I haven't got it?
Right, that's the last warning, understand?
Borrowing a rubber, sir.
I'll borrow a rubber you. Now cut it out, both of you. You've had more than enough warning. Next time it'll be the chop.
Then you better nix him, hadn't you? You know what he's like. You should have been friends and perhaps could have got him to let you off. He won't now. Anyway, I'm not worried. It's you that'll be yelling.
What do you want? Quarter shovel lemons, please. Sorry.
Can I help you?
Ah, you didn't know my name was Dan, did you? Come down and teach one day. I'll tell your father, you wait.
Here.
Well, what do you
Here, I
want?
got it.
Got what?
The money.
Well, where is it then? Well, come on, dear.
Here.
You said you'd give me double.
That was if I gave it to you afterwards. You said it was only 10 pence before.
Oh, all right then.
Now you've got to give me that drawing back.
What drawing?
You know, the one about Gaz Arnold and his girl.
Oh, that one. I tipped it away.
But you said Gaz Arnold said.
That was just a joke.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Oh, yes, it was.
Liar.
Don't you call me a liar.
You are.
I'm not.
You said about what Gaz Arnold said, about if I didn't pay that money.
I made that up. You never said sorry for slinging that slate at me, so I thought, right, and I told you that about Gaz Arnold.
I mean, it didn't
What do you think? He's not bothered about you. Not once he's shown you couldn't take the mick.
You give me that back.
Some
Give me that back.
Do you know what, my boy? You could do with a new conducting suit.
You leave my conducting suit alone. I'm superstitious about these things.
No need telling me that, but it's positively shiny. You know.
All right, let it shine.
It'll dazzle the audience.
I do that anyway without any additional assistance, thank you.
Well, then just bear in mind the combined effect and limit the old jumping about a bit.
Rose.
It's here. Now treat it carefully and don't put it in until the very last minute. We don't want you shedding petals all over the place like you did that time in Messiah. I'll bring you round a fresh one at half-time. And all your paraphernalia.
Oh, that's probably Ted.
All ready?
All ready.
Carriage your weight, sir.
I'll be on my way then. Now, don't forget to watch the beat.
I won't, dazzled or not. Good luck.
Use on this one first, and keep this one as a spare just in case. And don't go losing both.
And here you are, just in case you need it. You have to be with that. But don't go spending it unless you have to, all right?
You ready, darling?
Just coming.
Got something to suck?
This isn't the first concert I've sat through, you know.
Just wondering.
And don't you forget, any bit you're not sure of, just mouth it.
I'll do it all the way through if it makes you any easier.
Yes, it would. But you won't.
Why do they always have such long intervals? It's quite unnecessary, you know.
Well, I think people like to take their time over their coffee. It's a bit of a social game.
It's all very well, still.
was most enjoyable and very ingenious using the boy's voice. It made such a refreshing change.
Thank you, Mrs. Fletcher. I think we all enjoyed it.
Sharing the glory?
Exactly that, so that people will come up and say nice things whether they mean it or not. At least some of it will rub off on him and give him something to remember.
And nobody will offer him an acid drop.
That too, and speaking of said confectionery, Mr. and Mrs. Dawson, did you enjoy it?
Oh, yes, it's very enjoyable. Yes. So what happened about that? I thought you were going to sing it all.
We changed it.
Wasn't there
Don't you think he sang it well? You must be very proud of it.
Oh, yes. Yes, well, I think we'd better be getting back.
Or perhaps you'd let him stay just a little while longer, Mr. Dawson. After all, it is a bit of an occasion. No, you needn't worry. I'll see that he sticks to squash. My word on it.
Yes.
Just this once. Make it a night to remember.
Yes, well, we do like to have him in bed. Should we say half an hour then?
Say 3/4?
Yes, all right. Don't forget, no doubt.
We won't, Mr. Dawson, and much obliged.
Oh, good evening, Mrs. Dawson.
Good evening.
Mr. Dawson.
Yes, well, we'll be on our way then. Leave you to your jollifications.
Well, young man, all's well that ends well, eh? It's been quite an evening one way and another. But don't forget, Monday it's back to reality, right? I imagine there are quite a few
not
things...
Not tonight, Mr. Fletcher. Tonight is a little special.
Point taken. But strictly between ourselves, Mr. Peters, if I find him coming in on Monday still with your protective arm round his shoulder, I'll take exception. I'll take exception.
And set your mind at rest. Libera me and all that.
Still, it was quite an experience. You have a lovely voice, young man. Hang on to it while you can.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
The parents said they thought it was a bit funny when you didn't start that time, but they enjoyed the rest of it. See you on Monday.
Well, our revels now are commencing, I see. Now, let's see if we can find some squash for you and something else for me.